Hello and welcome to the Melanated Veteran Podcast. I'm your host, Miss Mesha, and before we begin, the first order of business is to like, share, and subscribe to the Melanated Veteran on Facebook and Instagram. We're on almost all major platforms: iTunes, Google Play, iHeart, Stitcher, YouTube, and many more. Check out our website at www.themelanatedveteran.com. So, my guest today is someone who I had seen on another podcast called Shall We Proceed? And I was very intrigued by her. And when I found out she was a veteran, I said, I have to have this lady on here. She is an author, a blogger, a coach, a wife, CEO of Deluxe Life Media, and she's the founder of Women with a Vision International. Please welcome Tam Luc.
Hey there, Kamisha. How are you?
I am good. I am good. Thank you so much for taking the time out to do this. Um,
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me.
yes, of course, of course. And like I say, when I saw you were a veteran and everything that you do, I was like, I have to. I have to have her on here because I had never seen someone do the do what you're doing. I had never seen that, and
hmm
so we'll dive into that in a little bit. But so let me go ahead and let's get started. So, what branch were you in, and for how long?
Well, I was 91 Quebec. I was pharmacy technician in the Army Reserve. I was in for technically 6+2 for 2 years of inactive ready reserve.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually in, I think after Desert Storm, we had some availability to get out a little early, so I got out a little bit early. But I was in, went to training, went to my weekend reserves and yearly 2 weeks in the summer. And it's interesting because when I first went into the military, it wasn't that I had always wanted to be. If you knew me back then, you would be laughing like most of my friends were. Like, you going to the military? Everybody's like, you're going to be Private Benjamin. It was so funny.
Private Benjamin.
But the reason why I wanted to go or ended up going is because I wanted to go to college. My parents were entrepreneurs. Probably heard me say this a lot. They were very successful entrepreneurs. My dad was really good in sales. My dad said just learn how to sell. That was his whole thing. And I wanted to go to college because I'm thinking I'm an African American woman. I can't just learn how to sell. It's like I have to get a degree. I won't get a job without a degree. And my parents, because they were successful baby boomers, they were like, yeah, that's a waste of time. That's a funny concept. Like, I
Mm.
didn't even, like, how can you tell your brown children that, so anyway, I insisted on going to college, and at that time they were really talking about the GI Bill, and
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Oh, this is one way I can do it." A couple of my girlfriends that went to the military, and even though it really wasn't me, I figured that was my only way out, and that's what I did: join the army.
Okay.
hmm
All right. So, we're with you with the Army. I'm not sure if I know the Navy. You still go through boot camp, the
hmm
whole six weeks or however long. Was that something that you ended up having to do too?
Yes, I went through the same rigorous boot camp. I think boot camp may have been I think it was 8 weeks, but because it was right around the holidays when we went, I think we went
Mm.
towards the end of the year, they allowed us to go home for 2 weeks, which is the worst thing. Okay, so if you go to boot
Oh
camp like in
wow.
a later part of the year and it overlaps, Christmas or something, they gave us a couple weeks off, was like, oh my gosh. So we went home, came back, and but it was, yeah, it was boot camp, that's for sure.
Right.
And I was not prepared for it. I couldn't do a push up. I wasn't physically active. Before I went, I started running so I can get myself used to doing something. I
Right.
was always good at running. From then on, I was really good at running. But it was a trip. Boot camp was a shock to my system.
Mm.
I couldn't do a push-up still at the end of boot camp. And they almost held me back to do it again. They kept pushing me and pushing me, and finally got my 11. I think I had to get 11 out or some, I can't remember, something like that, 11 or 13 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I got those done, and then as soon as I got to it was AIT. Once I got to the second part, the training, which was long, because I went to pharmacy technical school, which was like 21 weeks.
Mm.
So as soon as I got there, they tested us again. And that very first day of AIT, I did 30 push-ups.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, so I don't know.
Said, look, I did what I had to do, okay?
Right.
I did what I had to
Right.
do. I hear you. It's funny that, like, when you were saying earlier, too, like, when you told people that you're going into the military, people were like, wait, what? You're going in? You know, that was kind of my similar experience. People are like, you're really going to go into the military? You don't look like you could handle the Navy. Like, you don't look.
Right.
But it's like, you know what? Don't tell me what I can't do. Don't tell me what I can't do.
Right, right. And it's so funny because I wasn't really sure. Like, my girlfriend who went in was really pretty. She was a really pretty girl who was a cheerleader. And I was like, shoot, if Pam can go in the military, anybody can go in the military.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah. And I also like not really being prepared. Like, you can only be prepared for so much. And sometimes it is a shock to the system.
It is a shock. I mean, I remember as soon as I got to basic training, it was such a shock to the system, I'll tell you, that, how would I say it? As soon as I got to basic training, all this commotion. I can't even remember, but I remember it's just being chaos the first day or two. Then they threw you know how you always see the beginning of these movies where somebody's in basic and they're running and jumping over walls and climbing up walls and coming, doing all this craziness.
Right.
And everybody's crazy and nobody really is in shape. And before we even got to that part, we had just got to the station, the duty station. And I must have got myself so worked up that I got physically ill. And broke out in hives.
Oh, wow.
Like, literally broke out all over my body in hives, just from sheer fear. And just, I didn't know what was going on. And they sent me to the hospital. I'm like, I'm away from my parents. I'm away from all this stuff. I'm in this new place. I'm sick. Now they put me in the hospital. But because I have hives and because of the weekend, and there's no doctor there, they put me in isolation.
Oh, no.
Right. So that was my first experience getting into basic training. Now, it was a little bit of a blessing in disguise. So everybody who's jumping over walls, climbing, propelling, doing all this insanity, that happened while I was in isolation in the hospital. I didn't have to do it.
Amen.
Isn't that crazy? So,
Oh, hey, something good came out of it. Something
so
good
true.
came out.
Yeah, that's right.
So after boot camp, you go ahead and you becoming in the reserves and everything. What made you, start had you already started your businesses?
Nope, not at all. What happened back then is I was kind of all over the place a little bit. This is such a good conversation because I never get to have this conversation or even travel back to this time. But, here I am, 18, 19 years old. At the time, I told you I wanted to go to college. I wanted to be, I was always trying to, I love when people were proud of me. Okay, so I love when people were like, "Ooh, oh, that's so nice," you know. So for the longest time when I was a young girl, I kept telling people I was going to be a doctor. Ooh, that's really nice, you know, people would say. And my mom was really proud of me and really excited. And when I got to the end of high school, I didn't know what I was going to do, so I was growing the military. And then I decided to be a pharmacist, okay, because I thought it was a little bit easier to the medical field.
Mm.
So I went there as a pharmacy technician, like I said. So when I got out of the school, or like going to my weekly whatever drills, monthly drills, I got a job in a pharmacy as a pharmacy tech. So I'm paid well. I'm a young girl, 19 years old, have a good job. But oh my gosh, I did not like working in the pharmacy. And so it was okay, but it was just kind of boring. And I'm just too chatty. I'm too chatty Cathy, as you can see, right? And I was like, oh my goodness. So I kept doing it because, you know, I'm trained. I went through 21 weeks. It's a lot of training, especially for a military training. That's one of the longer ones.
Absolutely.
So I was doing that for a while, but it just wasn't the thing I wanted to do. And I was trying to figure it out. So then I went back to college, and I went into English, and that becomes a whole different thing. English degree and trying to figure it out. And then my professor said, you know, writers are broke. And I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? I mean, literally that whole time period was like, I don't know what to do. I'm trying my best. You know, when I was trying to be a doctor, I first started doing chemistry. I flunked chemistry. And I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. English, no, chemistry wasn't working. And I dropped out of school for a little while, trying to figure it out. When I finally went back to school, I thought, okay, what am I good at? Genuinely, what am I good at? And I'm good at ideas. That's actually what I'm really good at, coming up with ideas. So the only thing that was closest to coming up with ideas was marketing. And that's how I ended up changing and getting a degree in marketing.
Okay.
Yeah, so meanwhile, my parents are entrepreneurs. And I'm like, I don't want to be broke. You know, that's the reason why I don't want to go into English. I didn't want to be working at a retail store. I didn't want to, so I was determined to figure it out. And all the while, also side hustling, trying to learn what my parents are doing. I sold chocolates, and I sold, holy smokes. My mom used to sell art. I sold art for a little while. I sold this and that. And oh my goodness gracious, trying to figure it out for years. And then I finally, you know, made my way. And I think that was all necessary because now, you know, I'm almost 50 years old, but I can honestly say that I have probably more than 30 years of entrepreneurship experience in one way, shape, or form.
Right. That
know?
is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I have to give you props. Like, the side hustling, like, you know, not wanting to, you know, hey, I don't want to be broke. Like, I want to have my own job. Like, I want to own my own business. I'm in awe of that. I appreciate that. Just going out and doing that. So,
but it certainly wasn't a straight line. That's one of the things that people, usually when people are telling their stories and you see them, they're all of a sudden successful, you just assume it's a straight line because they leave out all the in-between. Because you would assume that I went to school for marketing and now I'm successful in business. That seems like a very straight line. It is anything but that.
Right. Definitely. So you get your marketing degree. How did Women with a Vision International get started?
Good question. And it was a combination of many, many things over the years, a lot of experiences, a lot of events that I was doing when I was working in commercial real estate and marketing and operations, learning how to do events. Oh, I like doing events. Oh, this is great. Oh, my goodness. So I kept doing those. I was side hustling events, started doing meetup. All of a sudden, I remember this year, I can't remember what it was, like 2008 or something. Somebody told me about Meetup. Meetup had just started.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, what is this Meetup? So I looked it up, and I said, this is fabulous. This is the best thing I've ever heard of. Oh, my goodness. Don't even start me on Meetup. I thought that was the best ever. And I said, what do I want to learn? What do I want to do? You know? And I went to Meetup and started looking for different groups to join that was close. And I started going to a few meetups, and then I decided to make my own. And so that was many years of just me learning how to inspire people to get out and do stuff. And if I had a social event, and I was like practicing, I didn't know at the time, but practicing, building a momentum and getting people to follow and all these things. And so that was part of it, part of that skill of learning about people and getting them to come to events, local events. Then at some point, I decided to start a women's organization, kind of like, I didn't know E-Women at the time, had never heard of it, but I was thinking of some kind of organization where a bunch of women around the world could support each other. So my mother, and I go through a lot of things about my mother and how much she influenced me in my life, but my mother was, a very dynamic woman. I loved what she taught me just from her being, from her being there, and just watching her. She was a very classy woman. She wasn't raised wealthy or anything, but naturally a classy woman. Just imagine Sophia Loren as a black woman.
Oh, wow.
Just imagine that. That's how she was as a person, okay? And I was never that exactly, but she was for sure. Most people saw that even as a young person. She was a young woman like that, and then I saw her as just a graceful, beautiful, strong, smart black woman. So I'm watching her, and I got a lot of just who I am by watching that, and I realized that a lot of women didn't have that kind of mother or have that kind of relationship with their mother. So, well, I didn't want to be everybody's mother, but I certainly thought that we can all mentor each other, right? I certainly thought that was possible. Like, if somebody doesn't see me as someone they can look up to, there's lots of other women you can look up to and learn from and get some natural mentoring just by being around each other. So Women with Vision International came from my mother, who I felt had a vision for herself and for her family. And I thought all women were superheroes. That's why I call everyone Superwoman, right? Because I saw her do so much, even when she got divorced from my real father, and she was three toddlers, and she was doing it, just doing it. Bought her own house and started her hair salon, and so Woman with Vision is like, we can all be that. We have to be a woman with a vision. We have to see far, far ahead, which I think women naturally can. Far, far ahead, and you just have to kind of direct the family, even if you're married, kind of direct the family in such a way that I saw my mom do it gracefully.
That's amazing. I, in these times that we have, it's good to see women. Women can come together. People might not think that we can,
yeah, for sure.
but we can come together. And I love the relationship that you had with your mom. That's me and my mom. We have a good relationship. We didn't always have one, but we have a good relationship now. And so I can relate to you when it comes to you looking at your mom and you're like, she's Superwoman. She's amazing. Like,
I'm like, who is this person? She is amazing.
Right? How don't nobody else? How do other people not have mothers like that? Like,
Yeah,
they.
right.
So,
That's exactly right. That's what I always thought. And
yeah.
I was like, I was so close to her. I was tripped out about people who were like, oh, I can't stand my mother. She gets on my nerves. I'm like, really?
Mm, yeah, and I can definitely
Yeah.
understand that.
Mhm.
So you going into you were talking about marriage.
Mhm.
Now I know you are an author, and do you have a book about relationships?
Yes.
The book about how you kind of how you met your husband.
Hilarious.
I this got me like, hold on, let me look at my note. Like, let me go ahead and put and get notes, because I that's it's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about that book, and then how you also got started, writing your other books as well?
Yep, I sure can. So the very very first book was a children's book. I wrote that back in 2000, like during my time when I was just like trying to figure it out, like doing so many different types of things. I asked my aunt. She's asked me one day. She says, "Tam, what do you really want to do?" I said, "I don't know. I went to the library and I bought a book like literally about professions and I can't figure it out." And she says, "No, but what do you want to do with your heart? If you didn't have to worry about money, what would be?" I said, probably writing or something like that." She says, "Okay, well then write." That was literally how she said it. "Well then just write." And I'm like, "Huh, I guess so." So I started writing. The first book I wrote, this in 2000, was a children's book called "There's Somebody in My Room." So I wrote that about my experience as a kid, and I messed around with this book. I messed around with it for a little while, and then it was done. Then I just was too scared to try to publish it or figure it out. Back then, it was not as easy to publish as it is now. So
Gotcha.
I was trying. So I wrote. I think I ended up writing about maybe 4 or 5 books, children's books at that time, but I never did anything with them. I did all the stuff with a business plan, which is why I tell people don't do business plans because I wasted a lot of time writing business plans. I wrote a business plan. I got it trademarked. I got it all kinds of stuff. I mailed it to myself. I did all the stuff that people tell you to do.
Right.
Okay, wasted my time. That was in 2000. Meanwhile, I did not publish it. So many, many years went by, and about, I don't know, 2010, before that, it had to be like 2007 or 8, I went to a conference. There was a lot of publishers there, and I brought my little book. This is a long time later, right? 8, 9 years. Went to this lady, her booth, and I told her about my book, showed her my pages. She said, "This is really good. There's some things I would probably change about this, that, and the other, but I'm interested." She said, "Here's my card." So this is a actual publishing company, and then she wanted to publish my book. And I did not get it published. How about that? I just was too scared, didn't think I was good enough, so I threw her card away and I just never did it. Okay, many, many years later, my mom is always telling me, "You should write a book, you should write, get it published." I didn't think I was good enough because I ended up getting a degree in marketing. Okay, fast forward, my mom passes away in 2016. Okay, and before she had passed away, I have always been writing. Always, always. I have journals and journals of writing. I have Google Docs of all kinds of stuff because when I get pissed off and on a roll, I start going off and I write it all out. Or when I'm happy or I see something's cool or whenever I'm inspired, I'm writing. So I have tons and tons of writing. My mom said to publish, but I didn't think I was good enough. So when she passed away, something just clicked. Something just snapped. What is what it was. For some reason, I think what happened was I no longer care what people thought. So during those times, if I'm writing all those times, I started dating my husband, my now husband, in 2013. Well, I was sassy, crassy kind of chick, was who was doing my little blog. You could probably find this blog somewhere. Okay, it's probably still online. So I was just sassy enough to write all this stuff about my dating at this point. I had been married before, got divorced, but now I'm dating. And I was talking about these crazy guys and all these situations and just stuff that I felt like writing about. I met my husband, and I noticed that, oh my gosh, he's a good one. And I'm writing about, him and our situation while we're dating. And then I decided I'm going to do everything my mom taught me to do, old school style. And I started writing about it, doing it, and then writing about it, right? And ended up marrying him. And I said, whoa, that stuff really does actually work, right? And I thought, I'll put this in a book, because my girlfriends come and say, how did you find this guy? How do you get married so easily? That kind of thing. And I said, I'm going to put this in the book. I'm going to tell you exactly what I did. And that's how that book came about, The Right Into the Chase. But my new husband, we were a year into marriage, he finds the manuscript. Not that I was hiding it from him, but I didn't think he would read. Men don't read. That's what I'm thinking, right? So I'm not thinking he's going to read this book, actually. He reads the whole thing while I'm at work. Yes. And I come home, he goes, oh, yeah, I read your book. I was like, oh, for real? And we had the best conversation after that. He was like, you're right. You're absolutely right. And he started telling me his experience with dating and with women and what women should and shouldn't do and what they're doing and what they think. And I was shocked. I had never had this kind of conversation with a man before, right? And then I asked him, how did you feel? How did you receive me as I was doing these things to you? I was like, just doing my old school stuff.
Right.
And he told me, and I said, you got to write that down. You got to write that down. So we put that as the last chapter of the book.
That is awesome.
I know. Isn't that something?
Oh, like just the fact that, for one, I'm very, very thankful that you got out of your way and said, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to write, I'm going to publish it, get it published. And I love the fact that you and your husband, like the communication, because he could have been like, what is this? Nah, like,
right.
He could be like, why are you talking about this? But the fact that you guys work together.
Why are you putting our business out there like that?
Right.
That kind of stuff. Yeah, and we're very active in church, and then all of a sudden, I'm telling, we met at a club. Okay, so you know what I'm saying? Like, all our business is out there.
Right.
And it was a great experience. He put his part of the story into it, and we published, and that has been the best. And I didn't do a lot of marketing on that book. I didn't want to be a relationship coach or anything, but talking about authentic, that's just about as authentic as you get. I was writing while I was dating him, and it was what I was thinking, what I was doing. I took some of the racier blogs out. There's a bunch of blogs that was talking about not only just, it was just dating in general. But then when I decided to really focus on this idea around the right end of the chase, that's when I just focused in on this. My girlfriend, I remember when I was dating him, it was at some point that I was really starting to like him. And I started to feel myself feeling that pulling that way. And my girlfriend said, girl, you better stay on the right end of the chase. And I never forgot that.
Right. And now you wrote it.
Yeah.
The right end of the chase. So, with everything that you've done, do you feel like any of your experiences in the military helped to, prepare you for certain things while you were...
That's such a good question. Good question. I'm gonna answer it in a couple of different ways. When I got out of the military, when I put it on my resume, I was really proud of myself for having it on my resume. So when I give my resume to any company, any one of the companies that I've worked with, I was in corporate America for a very long time. They were always very intrigued. I know I got jobs because of that one line item, most in the military.
Right.
I was also a flight attendant when I was in college at the same time. That's another one that gets a lot of attention. But as a military person, they attribute focus, they attribute discipline, they attribute, following orders, all those things to being a military person. And, I would say I got some of that, some discipline, able to get up, do what I had to do, follow a mission, stay focused, stay to the end. All those things are things you learn. But I think the most I got out of it for me was, not only did I get that from it, but it also people recognized it as well. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
They recognize it as important.
Because it's something about us as veterans, like it's something about us that you could tell we're different. We're a little bit of a different breed, like our attention to detail and just being on time and that kind of thing. A lot of that it's noticeable.
Yes.
And I love it. I love it. So you have so much, you got the Women with the Vision International. You've written your book. You and your husband have a media company, correct?
Yes.
Deluxe Life. So tell us a little bit about how that got started.
Yeah, so on the side, like after my mom passed away, so that was the pivotal point right there in 2016. I had been side hustling for many years and not knowing what to do and not succeeding. And then when she passed away, and I was coaching before then. I was getting clients and coaching. And for some reason, I told you felt like I had to write a book. So the first book I did was the children's book. The second one I did was called A Woman's Side Hustle. The third one I did was Right Into the Chase. The fourth one I did was social media, the Perfect Day Journal.
Okay.
So those books that I was doing, I had written already. Like most of those books, I have tons of books I've written. I haven't published yet because I've been writing so many years. But with that one book, the Woman's Side Hustle book that I did, I followed that one through. I said, because I want to be known as a coach to females, a woman's coach. And I know what I know for sure. I know side hustling, woman's side hustle. I know that. So I said, I can do that. So after I published that book, then I started using that book to get out there and get my name out there, talk and get clients and get people to my coaching programs and then upper level coaching programs and retreats and events and all these things from that first book. And I got to six figures doing that. First time ever with my own job, my own business. Left my job and I was like, what? Right? I can teach this. I can teach this. Everybody wants to learn how to do this elusive six figures, right? I can do this with my book, but with book marketing. So so I'm listening to Gary Vee. A lot of people have listened to Gary Vee. I'm doing a lot of, work, on myself and training and stuff. And Gary Vee says all businesses are media companies these days. He said, if you look at yourself as a media company, which you are, right, then, it expands your reach because everything about your business has to be on social media. It has to be all about getting out there and being seen and your YouTubes and your Instagrams and your Facebook. And that's how we do business these days. So you are a media company. I said, Gary Vee, I'm in, right? I'm in for that. So then if I'm a media company, what is it going to be? Well, I have this thing about I want to do business with my husband. My mom did business with her husband. I want that kind of relationship. So then it has to be deluxe, right? Well, deluxe sounds like deluxe, right? So if it's deluxe, what if about it? Well, it's deluxe life. This is what we do. We do it together. We travel. This is it. Deluxe Life Media. That's it. And so Deluxe Life Media helps women build their businesses. We use all kinds of media, mostly books, and we help them get the word out there, get their business and their coaching business or whatever entrepreneur business they want out there. And underneath that umbrella is Women with Vision International. Women with Vision International is a club of sorts. It's a group. It's a hub of those women.
Okay.
Yeah.
So many, like, I want to call you a Jane of all trades because there is so much that you guys do, that you do. And like I said, I had never really seen any women do what you're doing with the Women with the Vision International and with the publishing. I heard a little bit about what you were saying, how helping women writing stories together. Your media company helps with that. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So one of the projects we're working on right now that we've been working on all week, all year, it's been great, called Women Who Boss Up. So Women Who Boss Up is a series of books, collaborative books. There are 16 women in each book. And we have Women Who Boss Up in Life, Health, and Business, Women Who Boss Up in Health, Wellness, and Lifestyle, Asian Women Who Boss Up, Women of Color Who Boss Up, Moms Who Boss Up. I even want to do a women veteran who boss up. Matter of fact, a girlfriend of mine just turned me on to a Facebook group with a bunch of women veterans, and I thought, oh, that's a good idea.
Right. Hey,
Yes.
and that's, not to cut you off, but like, that's something, because people don't realize, there might not seem like there's a lot of us, but there are some of us, and we do have a voice,
That's right.
So that's
You're
awesome.
here for it.
I'm all there for it.
Yes. Well, that's what I am really focused on personally. And I think that, and this year has been a great year for it, even though everybody's been like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do 2020? It's been a great year for us,
Right.
For our business. We were already set up online, and because a lot of people need to know how to do business online, it kind of worked out well for us to teach people what to do,
I see. So what's one thing that you can tell, like, for people who are wanting to start a business, what's one kind of advice that you would give to them?
Okay, so I'm going to give some context to this. I'm going to say something very cliche that everyone has always heard. And most people say, just do it. I'm going to say the same thing, just do it. But I'm going to give a little context to it. The thing is, the reason why you have to just do it is because if you don't just do it, you're going to hold yourself back by all the limiting beliefs that you have about yourself. You're not smart enough, tall enough, old enough, young enough, black enough, white enough, in the right neighborhood, you're not educated enough. All these I'm not enough things will hold you back, which, as you heard from my story, I suffered from in much of my life. Many years of my life, and it just wastes time. Frankly, it just wastes time. Now, I say that very easily, but I also realize that it's not always easy for you to bust through that limiting belief. Like, I can't do it because my parents didn't love me. I mean, these things need work, right? I can't do it because I wasn't given the opportunity. I wasn't from the right neighborhood. All this kind of stuff needs work, right? Needs work to bust through, to get over, to realize that you could actually move past it, You could actually get over that and still be successful. So the thing I would tell people to do, just do it. But if you find yourself unable to just do it, like right now, like like if it's 5:20, like 5:21, you start.
Mm.
Like literally, like right now, if you find yourself not being able to just do it, then you might have some blocks. You might have some work to do. You might need to see some coaching or go on YouTube and find some videos or buy a book, right? Because that's the only thing you can possibly get you started. You have to just do it. Okay, the next question somebody might ask, I'm trying to give as much as I can. The next question people are going to ask is, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know. I want to do this big thing. It's so big. I don't know where to start. Okay, I'm going to tell you exactly where to start. There's something called Google. Literally, you need to Google it. How to start XYZ, whatever the thing is you're trying to start. And you'll be amazed at how many things are out there to tell you exactly what to do. The other thing you can go to is YouTube University, which is just youtube.com, and just literally type in how to start XYZ. There's so much free information out there, there's actually no reason for you not to start. So that's it.
I love that. That's some gems right there. Just do it. Just do it.
That's it.
Google it, YouTube it. Hey, how to.
Yeah.
I want to again, thank you so much for telling us your story and your businesses, and I admire you with everything that you're doing, especially helping with us women, because we need to stick together. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes the media, social media, and the world is like, oh, they can't get along, or they try and pin us against each other. So I love the fact that you're like, no, let's work together. Let's do this. Let's do this.
No. It really is. I'm going to tell you one more thing that I have my husband cracking up. So, this is the reason why women have to work together. Have you ever gone out to a club with your girlfriends?
I have.
You have, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many girlfriends do you have?
Usually it's a small group. It would have been maybe like 2 or 3.
2 or 3 of you guys. Okay. So just imagine 2 or 3 girlfriends, maybe 4, right? And some buster comes over to your table, right? Somebody you don't really want to talk to, right? Can all 4 of y'all kind of gang up on him and get him to go away?
I mean, we probably could.
Right. Well, most of the time, if a guy sees a table full of women, they will never approach. That power is way too much for them to even deal with.
Right.
Right? So if you think about that level of power that happens when a bunch of women are together and how intimidating that is, think about that about business. That is completely intimidating by most of everyone.
I like that. I like that analogy.
That's why women have to work together. Yeah.
Absolutely. Again, these are some gems. These are gems throughout this whole interview. It's just gems and gems. And I hope people really focus and listen to it. Because, I'm already taking notes. I'm taking notes.
Well, I'm going to tell you, if you want to, I have a summit. Women Who Boss Up Summit. It's November the 16th. It's the 16th through the 18th. It's free. It's online. It's a virtual summit. And you can just go to womenbossupsummit.com. So, and just register. Now, there is opportunity to have a VIP experience if you want. There's opportunity to buy a book if you want. But you don't have to do any of it. You can just go in for free, right? Okay. 3 days, and it's just going to be coaches, and all the authors in the book are going to be speaking about how they started their business, and it's going to be very, very valuable for anyone who wants to come. That's womenbossupsummit.com.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right. So before we wrap up, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find us at deluxelife.com. That's DELUCSLIFE.com. And I'm on social media, Instagram and Facebook, Tamar Luc, or Women with Vision International.
Okay. And don't forget the summit. Definitely don't forget the Women Boss Summit. That's November 16th. So
Yes.
definitely, y'all don't forget to check that out. Again, I want to thank you, Tam, for doing this interview and doing this and sharing your experiences. You can find me at the Melanated Veteran on Facebook and Instagram, and www.themelanatedveteran.com. I am your host, Miss Mesha, signing off saying, embrace what makes you, you.